Profit.co recommends a framework called the PEAL framework. And this entire webinar is going to about how do we execute the PEAL framework, right? So PEAL framework stands for, P stands for plan, right? We spoke about this. E stands for execute. The next E stands for engage, right? Employee engagement. And then L stands for learning, which is end of the quarter retrospective, right? That you do. And when you actually use a tool and when you explore it a little bit more, this is how it's going to look like, right? So in the planning cycle, as we saw before, you have OKRs defined at various levels. You do alignment, and then week after week, you do check-ins, you do team reviews, you have dashboards to report the progress, and you may have multiple ideas to improve engagement, including awards, maybe great hashtag conversations, and then end up with end of the quarter reflection, right? So that's really the foundation for the session today. So with that, let's jump straight into what is the data infrastructure that is required, right, for OKRs. So this is a brand new topic. You wouldn't find this anywhere else, but this is particularly useful if you are doing OKR implementation at a very large enterprise scale, right? You want to take care of this right at the beginning, right? So our recommendation number one is to establish a data dictionary. Right? When you have key terms, it could be things like, for example, even revenue, right? We have seen OKR implementations where, one team calls it as revenue, another team calls it as ARR, another team might call it as sales, right? But instead, and even within those terms, how do you actually measure, right? For example, sales, if you are a company like GM or Ford, the moment your vehicle, you have sold to your dealers, the sale is done, right? They don't care about whether the sale has been made to the end consumer, right? Whereas if you're a Tesla, then there are no intermediaries, selling to the end consumer is when sale has actually happened, right? So it's very important within the company, everybody has a very clear definition of each of these terms. And to have a good data dictionary defined, would be a great idea, right? The second thing would be to standardize on common KPIs. And this is particularly important, when you're using a tool and you want to do the alignment, right? For example, if you have sales, you have multiple regions doing sales, new ARR is being done by one team, expansion ARR is being done by another team. It's important to identify these common KPIs and define them at the enterprise level so that, we don't really come across each team defining the OKRs at their own levels. And then, you're not able to present a very cohesive KPI board, right, to the management. Right? This is particularly important because if, the CEOs and CFOs, they make a promise to the board in terms of specific KPIs that they will achieve. And OKRs are really a great way to achieve, those KPIs, right? And that's something which you will be able to do only if you are standardizing the common KPIs, when you are doing the implementation. Third, creating executive dashboards. Okay, this is, with a tool like Profit.co, you have something like KPI summary, standard and built in, right? But if you build it right from the beginning, right, and win over your CEO and CFO, right? So that is going to take your implementation a long way, right? Because as you keep going, you're going to find some pockets of resistance. Some people resisting, to do the check-ins, right? Are doing the end of the quarter retrospective, right? So, but if they know that the executive dashboards are out there and the CEO, CFO, COO are watching it, right? That provides a lot of motivation for people to go ahead with that, right? So Profit.co provides the tools, but creating executive dashboards right from the beginning and getting in the approval from your CEO, CFO, CXOs, that's going to go a long way to make your implementations successful, right? Fourth, integrate with single source of truth systems. Okay, so you may have, for sales, maybe using Salesforce, right? Marketing may be using HubSpot. Engineering may be using Azure DevOps or Jira, right? It's a great idea to integrate your OKR platform, with this single source of truth systems, right? So that will really help you with adoption, number one. Number two, the data quality remains strong within the OKR framework. Number three, people will stop complaining about the amount of work that is required, whether duplication of work is required, right? All of those things are going to go away, right? And fourth, absolutely ensure data accuracy and consistency, right? Doing regular audits and validation checks is going to help. And of course, promoting data literacy across the teams through regular trainings, right? That is going to help.